Hello, I'm Latanya Scott, Communications Director for AARP in Louisiana. Millions of Americans fall victims of fraudulent schemes every year, resulting in tens of billions of dollars landing in the pockets of con artists and unsavory criminals. Without protection for us and our loved ones, our chances of joining the growing list of victims improve dramatically. This is especially true in the summer when we tend to let our guards down, making it easier for fraudsters to strike. Joining me today is Carmen Million, President and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of South Central Louisiana. Her office covers more than 12 parishes in the Baton Rouge area with a primary focus on providing the community with information that affects businesses and consumers. Carmen has worked for the BBB for over 40 years. Thank you for joining me today, Carmen.
Thank you, Latanya, for having me.
Well, let's get straight to it. It's summertime and people are enjoying the warmer temperatures and planning family vacations. Is there anything we need to be mindful of as we plan our summer vacations?
Well, of course, the Better Business Bureau always recommends that you plan ahead. You investigate any company that you're going to be doing business with. You can do that by going to bbb.org, checking with friends and family, but do investigations before you actually book it. Don't respond to these pop-ups because once you start searching, you're going to start getting those pop-ups. And probably one of the most important things that I like to tell consumers, and it's just kind of simple, is don't post your plans online through social media. Don't let people know that you're going to be gone. There's nothing wrong with posting, but post when you come back so that you know that your house is not an open possible target for being robbed, that sort of thing.
Those are some really, really great tips because, I'm on social media and I oftentimes do see family and friends posting that they're en route to vacation and showing actually even where they are at vacation. So those are really, really great tips to keep in mind.
Yeah. One other thing I want to say that I didn't say is that we always need to consider travel insurance. We never know when we're going to have to cancel those plans. You spend a lot of money to plan and to pay for this particular excursion. So you need to look into possibly getting travel insurance in case something happens and you have to cancel. You don't want to be out any money.
Thank you so much for that. Last week, Carmen, AARP released a report that found that older Americans lose an estimated $28.3 billion annually to elder financial exploitation. The report also shows that 87.5% of adults age 60 and older who are victimized, they're victimized by someone who they know, and they never report these incidents to authorities. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it is a large way that scammers will take advantage of senior citizens. It's people they know, because you have to think about it. Who has access to their information in order to take advantage of them? These are people they know, people that go through their home, maybe family members, that sort of thing. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Why do they not report it? It's because in most cases, they don't want the drama of reporting a family member. And so they just let it go. And then, of course, that family member or that person that knows them that's already stolen their identity will continue with the particular fraud. And so we want people to understand that you have to be your first line of defense. You have to protect yourself, whether it's from your family member, your friends, whoever visits your home. It doesn't really matter. You have to protect your information, make sure it's not accessible to anybody going through your home. Make sure you check your credit. Look for warning signs if you're starting to get bills or calls for collections of accounts that you're not aware of. But you have to protect yourself first. And of course,
Right.
the only way to stop it is to report them to the police department and file charges. And most consumers are not going to do that, especially the elder to their family members.
It's just so unfortunate, that our older adults cannot even trust those who are closest to them. It's just really unfortunate.
It is.
Carmen, June 1st, we know it's that time of the year. It's hurricane season. But you know, severe weather events, they happen throughout the year in Louisiana, and scammers always take advantage. Are there any tips that you can provide now as we gear up for the height of hurricane season, which is, a month or so away?
Well, the first thing we want people to do is get your financials ready because you don't know if a hurricane's going to hit, if you're going to have to evacuate. And when you evacuate, you want to take those important documents, you want to have them available. You want them to not be easily accessible to people who come into your home, but you want to be able to gather them quickly so that if you have to leave in a hurry, you can grab that information. Your insurance policies, your personal data information, your banking information. You also need to make a list of all those accounts in case for some reason you have to get in touch with them. Unfortunately, there are scammers out there that are going to take advantage of you when you're not at home. Unfortunately, when we see these disasters, there are people going around to people's homes because they've evacuated and they steal as much as they can. So you want to make sure all your personal financial data, your information on your insurance policies are handy and in a safe place that you can grab and go with it. You need to make sure that you listen to the news and you prepare properly to make sure that your property is as safe as it possibly can be in case you do have to evacuate. Have a plan of action. Make sure your family members know where you're going to go, what route you're going to take. Prepare ahead of time in case you need to get on the road. You need to be looking at those traffic traffic to see how busy it is. When is the best time to leave? Again, those are one of those things you may have to leave quickly, but also be prepared.
Awesome. And so I know here lately we've had a few weather events in Shreveport specifically. What are some tips can you provide now for those who have recently undergone some severe weather and are in the process of rebuilding?
Well, again, the most important thing to do is understand your insurance policy, what it covers, what the conditions are. Make sure you are very clear and that you have an agent that you can work with. You want to make sure that if you hire somebody to do those repairs, that you investigate those companies. Unfortunately, fortunately, when disasters happen, there are great people out there that are willing to help you. Unfortunately, there are what we call storm chasers that will come into your area and want to do a job, make some quick money and leave, and then you may be left holding the bag. So people, and of course, people make bad decisions in a bad situation. Take a step back, take a deep breath, do your homework. If you're not sure what to do, contact your Better Business Bureau and we'll give you some advice on how to proceed. But make sure you investigate before you make a disaster even worse by being a particular potential victim.
Thank you. Great tips. Last week, unfortunately, we learned about a data breach with the Louisiana Office of Motor Vehicles. And according to the reports, it seems that most of us have been impacted. Are there any steps we can take now to prevent further impact?
Well, first of all, data breaches unfortunately happen all the time now. They're quite frequent. We Technology is wonderful, but it also allows scammers to take advantage of people. And this is one of the ways that will show you that scammers are very intelligent and they can take advantage of a particular government agency where all of your information may or may not be impacted. So what they're suggesting, not they're recommending, but not requiring that you consider putting a freeze on your credit. And people don't understand what that means. Putting a freeze on your credit means that you're contacting Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and you're putting a freeze that eliminates the possibility of anybody opening up credit in your name without your authorization or your knowledge. So what happens is once you freeze it, they'll give you a PIN number. Anytime you want to make a purchase, you will have to put the PIN number in, unfreeze it. When that transaction is done, you will freeze it back. Is it a pain? Possibly, but you have to weigh the pros and cons because it takes a second for somebody to be a victim of identity theft, and sometimes it takes years for them to clear that mess up. So it's something to consider. You're not required to do it, but you definitely need to consider it.
Is there a cost to freeze your credit?
No, absolutely not. When you've been a potential victim of identity theft, then when you freeze your credit, then that is not going to cost you anything. And so it shouldn't cost you anything to freeze or unfreeze it. Now, that may only last for a year, but those are the things that you can ask each credit reporting agency when you contact them. And what I've told people recently, because the Better Business Bureau has received hundreds of calls on this, is if you're going to make the call to these agencies, be patient, because you and everybody else in several states are making those calls. Consider going to the website annualcreditreport.com. You can check your credit, you can put a freeze on your credit there, and again, it doesn't cost you anything.
Will freezing our credit, will that impact your credit?
No, it not only will it should it not impact your credit, but it actually it protects you, but it's not going to affect your credit. And you need to just make sure that you understand that it's going to keep you safe, keep your credit safe. And we've had people ask us these questions. I just wanted to say this point. Because of this data breach, should I shut down all my financial accounts? No, you should not. The only thing you should be concerned about is somebody stealing your identity and opening accounts, which is why you would put the freeze on your account. It's not going to cost you anything, and it's not going to affect your credit negatively.
So top priority, freeze your credit. Awesome.
Right. Correct.
So Carmen, before we wrap up, and I think I've had it, it's at the bottom of the screen, but I just want you to remind everyone how they can contact the Better Business Bureau.
Well, first of all, let me say, if you want to check on a company or you want to file a complaint or file a review, you can go to bbb.org. If you feel like you've been a victim of a scam, go to bbb.org/scam tracker, or you can always call the Better Business Bureau at 225-346-5222.
Carmen, is there anything else that you would like to add? We're talking about summer fraud. Anything else that comes to mind that perhaps you might want to touch on?
Yeah, let me just say this really quickly. Summertime always brings out people's urge to do repairs on their home, small repairs. We want consumers to understand that you need to be cautious of these door-to-door salespeople, whether they're selling alarm systems, if they're doing yard work, whatever the case may be. Don't let somebody who just knocks on your door that you're not familiar with and you have not called into your home. You can always get a business card, information on that company. If you're considering doing business with them, call us first. But be very cautious, because you want to make sure the company that you're going to hire is properly licensed, insured, and bonded, and of course registered with the Better Business Bureau. Finally, they in most cases have to have a permit to solicit door-to-door. So before you let that person in your home, contact the Better Business Bureau, check with your neighbors. Don't just assume that they're a legitimate business because they have a sign on their vehicle. Investigate before you invest. And finally, what I want people to understand is you have to be your first line of defense. You have to protect yourself. Don't be afraid to say, look, I'm going to check with the Better Business Bureau before I decide to hire you, or if I have any questions. That's what we're here for. Call us before you do business with somebody. And remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it generally is.
Thank you so much, Carmen. We really enjoy having these conversations. You are just a wealth of knowledge. We enjoy being partners with you all. We enjoyed the free shredding event that happened this past April, which was really awesome. And of course, we will continue, to connect and to educate on fraud, because we know right now fraud is running rampant all over the U.S. But in Louisiana, it's pretty bad if you look at the stats. So again, I just want to tell you thank you. And of course, we will have you back. We'll have Carmen. We'll be doing a telephone town hall in November to talk about holiday scams and holiday fraud. So hopefully everyone will be able to join us for that. So Carmen, thank you so much. And we definitely look forward to having you in November. Whether it's over the phone, through the mail, online, or at your front door, scam artists are out there and they are looking for new ways to get you and your loved ones to open your wallets. Joining the AARP Fraud Watch Network is a great way to learn about the most effective ways to protect yourselves and your loved ones from identity theft and fraud. You can call our Fraud Watch Network helpline at 1-877-908-3360 or visit aarp.org/Fraud Watch Network to get more tips to help you in the fight against fraud. You can also visit our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages each Friday to learn about the latest scams. And if your organization is interested in a fraud workshop, please send your request to LAAARP@aarp.org. Thank you and goodbye.